welcome back to the Liverpool Community Podcast. I'm your host, Chase Johnston Lynch. And you know me, I love finding strangers, friends, interesting people to talk to here in the community because I feel that you love to hear from them. And so I was like trolling through a park. No, I don't want to say it like that. But I was out camping, believe it or not, and everything. And then I met this interesting woman who I thought she needed to come in and we need to hear her story. So I'm joined here by Sue Tickle from Revive Wellbeing. How you doing, Sue?
I am great, thank you. And thank you so much for having me, first of all. And second of all, saying I'm interesting. I'll say
Well,
that. I'm quite honoured.
Sue, you're very interesting because you know why? Because you're so busy. I don't know how we're gonna get through it all. I mean, Sue is just like she's like what do you call them? One of them whirling dervishes
Yes.
and everything like that. But what's great is it's like you're busy in the realm of mental health and helping people into with their well-being, shall we say.
Yes.
Like when I usually hear the word mental health and well-being, sometimes I say to myself, what the heck, what is that? You know what I mean? But you were really all about well-being, aren't you?
Yeah, and one of the things that drives me, as well as looking after people's well-being and the stress levels, is actually making a difference.
Yeah.
So all of the things that I've got going on, which I'm sure we'll touch on, they are making a difference to people's lives. It might be the only person that those people have spoken to that day, or they'll come to a session and be relaxed or whatever. So it's all about improving people's well-being and making a difference to them.
Yeah, now, I mean, what's interesting is because usually I don't start first with an origin story, but only because everything else is where we're going to land in. You come from the NHS.
Yes.
You have an NHS background. We dealt with a lot of people from the NHS in here, but you're like you're in senior management
Yes.
in what do you call it, procurement
Yes.
and everything else like that. So I thought that was fascinating. So, but you had the zest. You felt like I've been watching too much of that ER, and I really want to be where the action is and stuff like that. Tell us what do you do with the NHS?
So I am a head of procurement, which is looking after all of the purchase to pay part of the process. It works in finance. So I love working in the NHS. I've done it for 17 years and I love making a difference and I'm really passionate about my role. But I did always have like a little bit of a regret that I wasn't on the front line, that I
Yeah.
wasn't a nurse or a paramedic or something like that. And so I think that's where some of my passion and zest and drive for helping people in a different way has come from. I know I make a difference with my day job too,
Yeah.
but not directly to patients. So I feel really passionate about my role, but not directly.
Well,
So
but what's great about that is like people go through life and like they do the 9 to 5, they have the job, and then they have the hobbies and the habits and stuff like that. So while you're going through life, hey, you're doing what other people doing. I'm doing a bit of Reiki. I'm doing a bit of take care of my health and all that kind of stuff. You've been doing that for several years and everything. But then life then hits you, right?
yes,
Somewhere along the lines, it happens. We hit a curb, that is kind of rocky, which will hit you, and then it started you on to thinking, I think I want to do something different and
yes.
everything, and that's how we moved into this whole revive well-being, isn't it?
Yeah. So last year I had a pretty tough year, quite pivotal to me, where it was the breakdown of a long-term relationship. And what I did was I had a great group of people around me, which helped me to cope massively. But I lent very heavily on well-being things, so sound baths, Reiki, cold water dipping almost daily. That's an incredible thing for mental health. And so because I was doing those things and they helped me massively in such a short period of time, what I wanted to do then was actually start to bring those things to other people. I was dragging all my friends along to all of these things that I was going to, and that's when it started to spark the interest of, well, maybe I could do this in my spare time.
Yeah.
Spare time, what is that?
I don't know for you. I don't know what
I
spare
don't have
time
any
is.
anymore. But it just meant that I was passionate about bringing those benefits that I'd got that healed my life at the time to other people.
Yeah, but I mean, like, so when you mention cold water dipping, it's like, I mean, I'm sure Phil seems like one of those manly men. I mean, Phil, what did he call it when the guys do that? When they go out there with guys, they run out into the cold water.
Is it wild swimming? Is that right?
Nope,
No?
but it's something like that.
Something like it.
I was gonna say Eskimo thing, but but what I seen you do with the cold water dipping specifically is like it's like in a hot tub, but it's like a frozen hot tub,
Yeah.
right? Where like people like and you get in there.
Yeah, absolutely. And the key to it is getting in to your shoulders
Yeah.
and the back of your neck, because that's where the magic happens.
Yeah, exactly.
It's the mental health reset happens when you get the brown fat at the back of your neck.
Wait. Now tell me, because
I did not
I'd be
say
like, I am
anything.
not dipping, but I get to the brown far. What
The
did you say?
brown fat.
The brown fat.
Yeah.
That even when you're
Yeah,
not-
yeah. So I'm not going to be an expert on that, but it's There's
I
just
never heard that term before.
Yeah.
See, me and Sue have been giving each other words that we never heard before. Yeah.
But I was not calling you neck fat or anything like that.
I never said that.
I
It's
was
fine.
not.
Where did
saying
that come from?
It's fine.
Phil, did you call my neck fat?
I call you that one.
But I dip in various places. So yes, I do have a tub in my back garden,
Yeah.
and so I get in that, and it's a cold tub, or I'll go to the sea, a river, or a
That's where
reservoir.
like we
Yeah,
seen like
yeah.
I really it's like when you were talking about words just drop out because like I think men do it like where like that togetherness is like into the cold plunge.
Yeah.
But but you doing it like individually into these.
Yeah, if I'm doing it in my garden, then there's only room for it's. It's
only room for you.
It's bigger than a wheelie bin, but yeah, there's only room for me in there.
Yeah.
But if you go into a reservoir, sea or a river, then
yeah.
for safety reasons, I don't go on my own. So I'll go with my partner, with a group of friends, things like that. And so, we do generally go in groups because there's a lot of us that are really interested in it. So, and it's just so good for your mental health.
I can
Am I
imagine.
not convincing you?
Well, I'm one of those people at the pool. It takes me an hour just to kind of like get below my knees. I don't know if you know about that, Phil. Do you know about that, Phil? It takes me a long time to like trying to like dip in the cold water.
I'm proud to say I have swum in the sea each of the last 2 years.
Yeah,
so
well, I'm glad you're proud.
I really love swimming in the sea.
There we go. We've converted Phil,
Okay.
and so he can come
Okay.
and join me anytime.
Well, I will tell you what has converted me because I've watched it. Your sound baths.
yes.
Now, I mean, this I was hoping that you could explain a little bit because it's very intricate. Because it's not just some people might say they're gonna do a sound bath and they just have like kind of like a big metal tin, like a tin
Yeah.
drum, like a what they call it, like a tin pan drum or something like that. Like
Yeah, like an oil drum.
yeah, but nah,
or
yours-
a Tibetan.
yeah,
yeah.
yours is mad cool. It's kind of like white marble and everything. So tell us a little bit about that
Yeah.
in your preparation for a sound bath.
Yeah, so I am a sound bath practitioner, and I've been doing that only for about 6 months. But we've had, as part of Revive Wellbeing, we've had around 500 people attend our sessions, whether that's cold water dipping, sound bath, Reiki, etc. Forest bathing as well is another thing. But as part of a sound bath, it's quartz crystal bowls, and they are all in tune to play a tune,
Because
if you
they're
like.
different sizes, aren't they?
Yeah, different sizes for the different
that's
notes.
important, isn't it?
Yeah. And what I'll do is I will play the bowls in such a way that it works on different energy centers in the body. So if you heard of chakras.
Oh yeah, of course, chakras,
yeah.
cellular memory, and all that kind of stuff. Because it's a lay down
Yes.
kind of thing. So it's like as if you were doing Reiki or breath work,
Yeah.
but it's a sound bath. So
Yes.
no water involved.
No water, no bubble bath.
Nope.
Just
Unfortunately.
people lay on a yoga mat with blankets, pillows, pajamas. We have people coming in the pajamas and fluffy socks.
What was great is that with their eyes closed, they're going on a journey that
Yeah.
you're taking them on.
Absolutely, yeah. And so for the, 30 to 40 minutes that the bowls are playing with background music that take them takes them on a journey. What they have is just complete and utter relaxation, or, you know, what I get from it is clarity and focus rather than relaxation. But it's whatever the person needs on that day, that's what they'll usually get from that session.
Well, you also said that it's a really a good form of stress relief as well, isn't
Yes,
it?
yeah.
Because it's not like you're looking for something big to happen. I mean, that's what you gotta hate, right? Especially like, okay, I'm gonna put together the sound bath. I'm used to like having about 150 people, and then like somebody goes like, cause you were talking about couples that come in
Yeah.
and the husbands are coming in like, what am I doing here? It's not like you're looking for big moments, Sonya. You
I mean,
know, it's because everybody's personal journey is their personal journey.
yes.
So the vibration will take everybody
Yeah.
somewhere,
Yeah.
and it's just about where they go, isn't it?
Yeah, and every note that's being played and every part of a sound bath will take them on a journey, and the vibrations from the bowls and the sounds is working on people's energy centers, so it is just a whole healing experience. And what we do is we will start off with a poem, a meditation. We talk people through some breathing exercises. We then do the sound bath, and whilst I'm doing that, my business partner Hayley, she does Reiki on the people that are lay on the floor in the
Yeah,
jammers
yeah,
and the
yeah,
fluffy
yeah.
socks. Let's not forget them.
Yeah.
And she does that. And then at the end, we bring people round gently and we'll talk them through some grounding exercises so that people are not too floaty when they leave the building.
Yeah, don't immediately get in that car, fella. You know what I mean? But I think you let them know, like, listen, everybody gets something
Yeah.
completely different out of the experience. There's no one, two experiences that probably are similar and everything, you know. But it's the way the music is the difference here. You know what I
Yes.
mean? Because it's like, as I was saying, you know, music calms the savage beast. And then Phil had to point it out. Isn't it breast?
I
I said,
love how
Phil,
Phil
why'd you have to
shaking
go
his
there?
head.
I love it when his head goes down. Like, what am I doing
And the
here?
head shake, and you
Yeah.
can imagine the frantic editing that's going to go on at the end of this.
You better not cut that. But it's like, he's my egg McMahon. You know, but what I was asking you was is that, so out of all these people, you know, have been doing it, and in a short period of time, is there any one particular experience that comes to mind? You know, and I think you were talking about first timers or extremely
Yeah,
emotional experience, or
yeah. I mean, it's quite frequent that people will get emotional, and I think that is quite normal. And we prepare people for that when they attend the
yeah.
session, so that people don't feel a little bit weird if they start to, you know, if tears are rolling down the face, and we just help people to normalise that. I love it when first timers come and, you know, they've just randomly found us. We had people come on Sunday that had just Googled it and found
Yeah,
us, and I was like,
yeah.
I was amazed by that.
You said you love it when couples do it
Yeah,
too. Because,
yeah. And so the particular, the thing that I particularly like about when couples come is you can almost see the man rolling his eyes as he's walking through the door, as if to say, I've been dragged here against my will. And those people, generally, they'll spend an hour snoring, and you know they are absolutely loving the whole time. And they always say they didn't expect to get what they got from it.
I didn't expect to get any peace and quiet when I was told to come here to sleep down with my wife. Right?
But yeah, there's lots. I appreciate everybody that attends a session, but yeah, I do have, you know, quite a lot of favourites as well.
No. I mean, I just think it's great. I mean, you know, but also too as a part of your experience, we're checking off these experiences. As a part of your experience, you said you were like a mental health first aider.
Yes, yeah.
And everything. And then I was saying, hey, shout out to my man Sean Liddell, you know, who does mental health first aid. And she said, I don't know him. Okay.
And then we moved on.
Sean, you know, he's a good guy. But you know, the role and purpose thing, about being here to make a difference. I mean, like, I'm really curious about that for you because for someone you say you started this 12 months ago, and it's just something that um, is intrinsic with you. Like, what's that call? You know what I'm trying to say? That
Yeah,
call.
yeah. So I know we talked a little bit earlier about purpose, and I know people might roll their eyes and think it's a little bit cheesy when, when you start talking about your purpose for being here and being
Yeah.
in life. And I know I said about this sound bath kind of journey and revive wellbeing journey being about 12 months, but actually I started to go on a journey 6 years ago when I got sober,
Yeah.
and I started to do the work and become this better person that was always helping people who wanted to go on the same journey as me, and making a difference. And so the work actually has been going on for 6 years to become the person that I am today.
Yeah.
But I very much this year have become aware of my purpose of being here and being in life without getting too spiritual about it. And it is to make a difference to people and help people. I do a lot of coaching,
Yeah.
and we do talk a lot about what is your purpose in life, and people run for the hills when I ask that question.
Well, I will see, but see, I like what I like about that is that because your journey was like it's as normal as anyone else's. Like you working for a living, you're going through life and everything, and like whether there are rainfalls or rocks and boulders or whatever, you'll be dealing with it. But it leads you down a path through the forest, through the trees, and everything to where you are right now. And I just think that's beautiful, really. Because it's inspiring to know that, you know, um, especially when people feel down and
Yeah.
like what am I going to be tomorrow and everything else like that. That's the encouraging thing to me, and I like it when you said like instead of because I often wonder doing with breath work, will people be swarming you at the end,
Yeah.
and you said like you make it a point to let them take time for themselves. I mean, people will contact you because through that experience, like they might not even fully know what the experience was,
Yeah.
and and you're there because they can communicate with you afterwards. And I think it's that asking them take time, what I
Yeah.
think is it's really important, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, and again, it's like explaining what may happen before, during, and after, and so people do generally drift off
Mm-hmm.
afterwards, and they will say their thank yous and how grateful they are and that how much they enjoyed it, but it's generally in the day or two afterwards that people will then reach out on social media or WhatsApp or whatever, and say, oh, actually, do you know what? I did have this. I slept like a baby is the favourite one,
Mm-hmm.
or actually, I've been struggling with something where I've been struggling with my mood, or I've been struggling
Yeah.
to process something, and actually coming to one of our sessions has helped with that. So those kind of messages tend to be in 24 to 48 hours after a session, because
Yeah,
people
that's where
have to
that restlessness
process
comes in, isn't it?
what they've been through, because let's face it, they're a little bit dazed and a little bit relaxed after a session. They might not also want to stand there we hold our sessions in a forest, by a river, or in a barn. They
Yo,
might
dude,
not
it's
want
time to
to,
go. What's up? What's up? What's up? Yo.
but they might not want to stand there and have that conversation while 20 people are trolling past. But
Yeah.
we always make ourselves available, and we always say that people
Yeah.
can reach out at any time to us afterwards.
Well, what I thought was amazing, again, another tickless, is that, as far as, revival being and everything else like that, you were talking about like someone asked you to come in and do a teacher training session.
Yes.
Now, tell me about
So this somebody actually rang me, and it was completely out of the blue. A lady rang and said, "Did I do any sound bath sessions in schools?" And I tried to make out that it was normal and say, "Oh yes, of course we do," but actually it was the first time I've been asked.
it's always yes.
Yeah, yeah. The answer was should have been yes, clearer than what I answered. And she said, "Oh well, what kind of thing would you do for us?" And I had to think off the spot, what kind of session we would put
Go,
together.
girl.
And we did. We created a session where part of the teachers. It's quite a big teaching staff at this school. Part of them will come and have a sound bath, and the other part will go and have Pilates and breathing exercises with Hayley. So Hayley's the other half of Revive Wellbeing, and so rather than have 50 teachers come into a sound bath,
Yeah.
you know, people have got a choice and then they can chop and change if they want. So we tailored a specific session
Nice.
to them, and that was part of the teacher training day or the reset day. But the reason that I particularly wanted to mention that is, you know, it's really, really stressful being a teacher. I've got a lot of friends who
Oh.
are teachers, and, you know, I know how people's mental health suffers. And so to be able to do a session purely for teachers actually got me really excited, and I thought
Yeah.
that's something that actually we would like to do more of. People can contact us for that, and we will put a bespoke or tailored session together
Yeah.
to help with the stress levels of teaching staff.
No, I just thought it was a fantastic idea when you mentioned it, because it's like that whole relieving the stress definitely is a cool thing. I mean, actually, I even was saying this is that hopefully it's something that they can move to students as well.
Yeah.
I mean, like, not everybody is as airy fairy as me and as knowledgeable, but like David Lynch actually was doing the meditation school in America, taking off of that whole Chinese thing of where they put meditation into curriculum. So you never know. That's why I just thought, listen, somebody like you being out there to be able to explore that opportunity. And this is indeed an opportunity for inset days. Inset days could be boring. You know how they are and stuff like that. So that kind of like brings us into like what you got going on now. Like, check another thing. She got more stuff and this is where you were talking about this idea of a sober space.
I know, which is a
So sober
brand new
space is
thing.
not cyberspace; it's sober space. So you can use that because it's like ooh, it's on the internet. So tell us about sober space.
So sober space. So as I mentioned earlier, I am 6 years sober, and throughout all of that 6 years, I've done the work, but I've also wanted to help coach, mentor other people. So in the groups that I've been in whilst I've been sober, I've always been a mentor to other people. And so I found myself in a space where I wasn't in a group, and I actually use it for my own accountability. So it keeps me sober to help other people stay sober, and I love talking about anything to do with that. So I, like I say, found myself not in a group currently, and so I thought, well, why not do one, a group? So I do, like I said earlier, do a lot of coaching and empowering people and uplifting people and spreading the positivity as much as I possibly can. And so Sober Space was created. It's a new little Facebook community, and I use the word little so far.
Well, I wouldn't, because I mean, from starting like 2 weeks ago, you're already at like about 112, probably more.
Yes, yeah.
You know what I mean? That's not little. I know about little. I mean, you know what I mean? So that's really well done in that
Thank
aspect.
you.
But it also, this is where I gave her that new word of co-ed. It's also a male and female
It is.
scenario, probably non-binary as well, just in
Yep.
respect. But so a sober network that is able to kind of like be there for others,
Yeah.
into that avenue. It's just great. But I mean, again, with a person who has no time, you manage to squeeze every juice out of that melon. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know people. I do have a lot of people that say to me, that they worry about how much I do and how much I take on and things like that. And there's times when I worry about that as well. So what I did this year was, before I created Sober Space, I asked for help. So I do online coaching, and I ask people to help me with that. I have a little motivation group. I've got my partner at Revive Wellbeing. And so what I did was, rather than spin all these plates myself, and I might be then the person that isn't looking after their own wellbeing at the end of all this, what I did was I asked for and accepted help. And now that's been something quite difficult for me to do, because I ordinarily think I can take on the world and do everything myself, and I don't accept help very well at all. But I thought, if I want to do all of these things and make a difference to so many people, whether that be empowering women in the women's coaching group or using the sober space or Revive Wellbeing in a forest or a lake. If I want to be able to do that, I have to accept that help. So in all of those spaces, that help I accepted to be able to do that.
Well, maybe that's kind of like saying that, you know, like what you're able to do is apply the tickle effect.
Oh, so you might have just come up with a new name for a new group now. But I like that. I like that.
I don't know if the camera's on me. Well, you know, only because I was just going to say, you know, people might say, oh man, I'm really loving what Sue's talking about and what she's all about and everything, you know, and everything. And maybe they're saying that because, you know, if they wanted our last tick, there's a Tickle Time podcast.
Oh, I forgot about that.
I didn't. But it's on Spotify,
Yes.
called Tickle Time and everything. But what I thought was really funny about this is that she says that she's 4 series in. Look at that, speaking American. She's 4 series in.
Seasons, please.
No, this is what she said, Phil. This is what she said because it's the American term. She said she's right.
Yeah.
She said she's 4 series in, and she's on a hiatus right now, as
Oh
they
my
do,
word.
and everything. So she'll be back in January.
Are you going on the show, Chase? Yes.
Yes.
Well, see, Phil,
Yes.
I think the show could use a little bit of Chase tickling.
You put yourself right in there. It's just,
I did that on purpose. I didn't need you for that one.
You
I
always
did.
do.
No,
You always do.
okay, Phil, stop
The
yourself.
thing is, I can't get out of it now because we've got
No,
it recorded
that's
that,
right.
that I've asked you to come on.
Right.
You will be very welcome.
That's what he does.
Phil, you act like I have machinations. So anyway, just tell us a bit about what people like usually experience when they are experiencing tickle time. Seriously, the show tickle time. Yeah, it's about
It's a wellbeing podcast.
Yes.
So anybody that's got an inspiring story, so you've got till January to think of one, Chase, an inspiring story or does amazing things. So there you go, you can fit into that category, or you know has got something to share, and it is, you know, I think there was about 3,000 downloads, but that's over those 4. Is it series or seasons? Anyway, seasons. So yeah, there's been a lot of people that have downloaded those, and I have just taken a little break because I had so much of everything else going on. There's quite a lot of sober guests on there, but that is. It isn't a sober podcast. It's just that a lot of people that inspire me or are around me or contact
people
me.
who have been
Yeah.
dealing with their mental health or
Yes.
the different criterions, which I have. You know,
Yeah.
but I mean, and also too, people who probably would have watched this podcast and then wanted the return of
Yes.
chasing the tickle.
Absolutely. And that's twice you've said that now.
All right, well, you know, I'm just saying.
I love that. That's going to be edited out both times.
No, it's
isn't it?
not. What do I? Why? What do we say?
You will be very welcome to come on. But you know, I've had people come on and talk about their drinking issues, menopause, breath work, somatic yoga. I've even had a lady that's been to Everest Base Camp. She was one of my first guests, and she's a friend of mine. She's incredible. So
Wow.
I have had really interesting guests.
Well, I may have to go and take a cold dip. You know, it's kind of like, hey, yo, you ever have a cold shower? I might have to. You never know, right, Phil? Phil knows what cold shower is all about. So anyway, so, you know, before we got to go, we had to do your socials, you know, as we do, you know, and everything, you know. So how can people find you?
So everything's of mine is on Facebook and Instagram. So there's the Revive Wellbeing page on Facebook and on Instagram and on TikTok. Apparently that's where all the cool kids are. I'm not cool.
They're on Instagram. They're on
Instagram.
Instagram, yeah.
And then the sober space, the new sober space, which anyone can join. It's a free group. Whether they are sober or thinking about being sober, it is not just exclusively for sober people. That's on Facebook and Instagram. Tickle Time podcast is on Spotify. Did you notice how well I sold that then?
Hey, you know what? Did you notice how I threw that softball at you? You know, because I mean, I have actually listened to it and everything. So you know, I mean, it's not
You're
hard to
one of
find.
me 3,000.
Oh, I thought you were going to listen to 1 to 3. I mean, no, it's very popular and stuff like that, which is why I wanted to be on it.
And you will be. You will
Thank you.
be.
Thank you. You know what? It's been a pleasure, Sue. I mean,
Thank
I gotta tell you, you know, who would have known? Meeting at a campsite, you know, it's like everything, and then here we are. Now, I must attest to how busy it has been for Sue Tickle. You know, I think we tried three or four different dates to get her in this studio. You know, and everything, haven't we? Very busy and stuff like that. So much pleasure finally to have you here.
Thank you.
I'm glad we were able to break that and then to get you into the studio. You enjoyed it?
I have loved it, and I did say to you, I've never been on a podcast before, and I've loved it. I got scared when I saw all the kit, but I've loved it, and thank
You know
you
what?
so much.
Now, see, we're so busy talking about that's what I was trying to say. She had 4 seasons and never been on a podcast, is what she told me. Now she just said it herself. Well, we've now broken that. So anyway, thank you, Sue Tickle.
Thank you,
Revive
Jay.
Wellbeing. You can find it everywhere and everything like that. But we'll have it listed below and stuff like that. And I'm Chase Johnson Lynch. That's Phil. You know him. The voice of the voice of doom. Oh, look at that. She said it. For now, we out of here.